coming to bed, darling?
A little while, Gay.
Did you see Mrs. Paradine today?
Mm-hmm.
What's she like?
Strangely attractive. Oh, I'm sure you'd think so anyway.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. She's cost me too much.
Cost you? Oh, of course, our anniversary and that trip I promised you. Why, we'll still make it, maybe before the case even comes to trial.
But it's all right, darling.
Gay, but honestly, I was thinking just today how much fun it would be to go to Italy.
Italy? I thought we talked of Switzerland.
I know, but, well, Italy somehow seems so much more colorful. We could go back to Venice, you know, get in the gondola. And...
Oh, darling.
Oh, what's so amusing?
Nothing. I can't imagine anything more wonderful than being in a gondola, can we?
Well, then.
It's just that you're so transparent.
What?
For such a devious kind of barrister, too.
You're pretty devious yourself right now.
Mrs. Paradine is strangely attractive. And isn't Italy colorful? So.
Oh, of all the idiotic...
I thought it might please you to know I can be jealous.
You really think I'm interested in a woman who...
Silly, of course you're not interested. And I'm glad you're not getting so old you can't admire an attractive woman.
Well, I'd better get back to work.
Trouble, dear?
No, not exactly, but I thought Semmy would have a lot more information to give me.
But can't she give it to you, Mrs. Paradine?
Yes, of course. I'll see her in the morning.
But I've told you, Mr. Keene, my past is of no concern to anyone but my husband and myself. And my husband is dead.
Don't you understand, Mrs. Paradine? The prosecution always tries to tear down the character of the defendant. Naturally, I wouldn't like them to have the advantage of me.
You think they may discover something?
Well, if there is anything to discover, at least anything that you think might be embarrassing. Mrs. Paradine, it's essential that I have your cooperation.
Forgive me if I've been difficult. It will not shock you, I assume, to learn that I am a woman who, what would you say, a woman who has seen a great deal of life.
Oh, please, don't mistake my persistence for any lack of sympathy.
When I was still in school at Naples, it began. I ran away with a man.
He was much older, of course, rich. He took advantage of your youth.
He was married, respected. I took advantage of him. Then as suddenly as it began, it ended. He wearied of me, I wearied of him. What difference does it make?
There were others?
Of course there were others. We cannot hide these things. You said we cannot hide them, Mr. Keene. Let's drag them out. Let them hang me for the past and be done with it.
No, you mustn't feel like that. We won't permit them to make anything of it.
My poor husband. How he would have hated all this. He gave me his name, his fine name. He depended upon me to protect it.
Well, he knew about you?
I kept nothing from him. He was so good. He trusted me.
We'll get you free, Mrs. Paradine. Trust me.
I shall.
And
I do.
You still have no idea of how your husband met his death.
I've told you so many times. I don't know, Mr. Keene. I don't know.
But I still say, Tony, why not let the Crown have the burden of proof? They say she poisoned her husband. Well, let them prove it.
Semmy, what possible objection could you have to our proving that Paradine committed suicide? He was ill, depressed.
I just think it's dangerous.
Blind men have committed suicide before. We have only to decide who helped Paradine to do it. It's simple. Paradine's valet, that fellow Latour.
Latour worshipped him. He guided Paradine's every step like a mother hen.
It's after midnight.
Darling, I know it's after midnight, but I'm not sleepy and I've work to do.
Well, Semmy looks dead.
Well, he isn't dead.
Quite right, my dear. I only look dead.
Judy just phoned. I told you were still here.
I wish that daughter of mine would let me manage my declining years by myself.
I'll tell her tomorrow. We're having lunch, you know.
Latour's our man, Semmy. Who more likely to help Paradine out of his misery?
I can't think of anyone less likely.
A devoted, grateful servant and war companion who would do anything to help end his master's suffering.
Well, it won't wash, Tony. Let's face it, Paradine was murdered.
Do you think she killed him?
It's what the Crown will try to prove. We have to prepare ourselves to answer the Crown on Mrs. Paradine.
I'll have the answer.
With facts?
Well, to begin with, we have the very obvious fact that Mrs. Paradine is not a murderess.
Really?
She's too fine a person.
I was under the impression that she's been a woman of very low estate and rather easy virtue.
You're an insufferable snob. I only hope the Crown says that just once.
Sorry, Tony. I hadn't...